What is up? Workbringer here, and today I'm bringing you my final 8 out of 8 of Shadowlands Keystone Master, timing all the plus 15 dungeons. It's been really fun in Shadowlands Season 1 to get to this point. For context, I haven't played World of Warcraft since, honestly, like Cataclysm, like Mists of Pandaria, and even back then, I was a filthy casual. And the most I did, as I'm losing thread here, the most I did in Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria was clear, like, probably, I guess, all the heroic dungeons. I maybe did some LFR, never did actual raiding, didn't follow the meta, quote unquote, didn't play seriously at all. I just liked how the game looked. I thought it was fun to... I think I tanked a little bit, but really had no idea what I was doing and probably griefed every group I was in. And played a little bit of like Shadow Priest and just messed around, you know, and that's all I knew about WoW. And, you know, because of this year and being home quite a bit and kind of getting reintroduced to World of Warcraft, I was like, Shadowlands looks pretty fun. And I haven't played WoW for a while, and I would love to just, you know, if you're watching this video, you must understand, sink some time into a game, you know? Into one game, and World of Warcraft definitely is that game. So I came in with that sort of background, which is not like, oh, I did Mythic plus, you know, I was doing like plus 25 keys in Legion and BFA, and I played the entire beta and hit the ground running day one in the first week doing 14s. Like, I know there's people like that, and I follow them, and that's cool. But I had to learn the dungeons pretty much from scratch from the beginning. Protection Paladin, very foreign to me in the beginning. Until now, which is probably middle of the road, took me until now to get to being able to plus 15 all the dungeons. And I know the class now. I barely need the UI that's up there. Like, I pretty much know what's going on. I need to know a couple cooldowns, but I'm not looking at my UI very much anymore. If anything, I'm looking at my parties, Omni CD more. I'm like, okay, what cooldowns do they have up? Right? How is the pace of the dungeon so far? Do I need to make up time, etc.? So it's been really fun to learn it. Quite rewarding for me. Also, in the last week or for this series, I finally got my avatar up and running, which has been a goal. So it's a multifaceted project, this, for me. It allows me to play an awful lot of World of Warcraft during the day, because I consider this part of my job is to understand World of Warcraft, get good enough at it so that I could make content about it. And at the same time, recording your runs really is the best way to get better. You find way more mistakes, you find things that you've done well, you start to really zero in on the classes that can help you, boomkins, and it's been really fun, really enjoyed it. And what's especially fitting for this, I did not try for this. Oh, I did not. I made a video about how I hate Gorechop and how he is literally the hardest thing in the game for me at the moment. Like, honestly, Gorechop, I guess he's not harder than heroic Sire Denathrius, but I don't know. I only killed Sire Denathrius once, and I don't really intend to kill him again on heroic because he drops garbage gear. I already have both of the weapon drops from heroic Castle Nathria, and I usually shield still, but I have a 226 weapon, so why would I want a Sire Denathrius heroic weapon? Point being, there's nothing from the raid except for a better Splintered Heart of Al'ar cheat death trinket. I would like a 213 just to make my eye level feel better, but honestly, it doesn't do anything different. It's like a little bit of strength and like 5,000 more health when you come back to life. Like, nothing game breaking there, nothing changing. So I still farm the raid. I'm still gonna kill Sun Kings every week until I get it. I'm still gonna do at least seven bosses of heroic on this tank until I get the heart, right? And I'm still, even on weeks like this, I'll do at least 114 at this point. So this dungeon, pretty straightforward so far. This video I'm gonna really be talking about kind of like my goals, you know, for this character, given that it's like probably, mid-season, towards the end, you know, maybe a little bit towards the end of mid-season, season 1 here. But what I'll say about Theater of Pain, I was going to focus on this a little bit more, but really I want to talk about just like kind of you know, the way that I see the game and how I play it, and you know, my vision for it. For Theater of Pain, I'm not sure if this is going to be reflected in the title, is that it's pretty straightforward. You have to enter these dungeons with no fear, right? And I've suffered from this quite a bit and made this mistake, is that it's like, oh, it's a big key, we need to go slow, we need to take it easy, we need to be careful. And you can check my Raider IO and just search Workbringer. There's only 2. I'm surprised there's another. Search Raider IO for Workbringer and bring up Theater of Pain, and you will see a Theater of Pain. To get this 15, I think I did 7. And you can go look it up on my Raider IO. That's the cool part about it. I love the very transparent nature of how much Mythic Plus you've done. It's like embarrassing if you've done as much as I have. At least it's a lot for me. It's like 3 a day for the entire expansion. It's been a lot. At least, I mean, I'm not talking like minimum. Like there's been a lot of Mythic Plus spread over my characters, right? Which we'll talk about later as well. I did about 7 of these runs where I was, because of Inspiring, I was CCing a lot of the packs and taking it easy. And this next pull here, after this one, I, as a Protection Paladin, can Repentance the leader, LOS all the trash back, and it's much easier. But it takes about 30 seconds longer to do. And so I took 7 groups, all geared, like 215 to 220 geared, 1400 IO type groups, and we missed the timer many times. And by the end of it, I was so sick of not timing, right? Not that many wipes, just not, you know, there were a couple of those, but, you know, pretty much doing the run, taking our time and doing the CC chains very safe, everyone having, you know, doing it correctly, and not timing by like a minute, 2 minutes sometimes, you know. If there's any wipes, it's like 5 minutes, because doing a boss again it takes a long time. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what? You have to treat a 15 like it's a normal, or at least like it's a Mythic 0, right? Respect the mechanics, but smash this. You have to just smash this dungeon and not get hit by Boast, just like it's a Mythic 0. And when I changed my mindset, this run happened, okay? So there's no special strats here. I don't CC anything. I don't think I might CC like 1 mob or something like that, and some of the spicy pulls, but you can't do that like 3 or 4 times. It's too much. You run into the most dangerous pack of the dungeon like this with pride, and you blow it up like it's a Mythic 0, and you live, and you trust the DPS of your group, you trust the healer, and you trust yourself as far as like, you know, I'm gonna bubble probably pretty soon. Oh, maybe not even. I don't know. And I watch Paladin Dan, who's the only other Paladin on YouTube that I know who does like 19s and 20s. He doesn't even run Final Stand Divine Shield. He just runs in and smashes it. And so does Dorky. If you follow Dorky, when he plays Paladin, he plays the talent where you get Avenging Wrath back faster, so it's a DPS gain, right? So I play very defensive. I play very scared still, but having the 15s is a big confidence boost, right? I get to wear the mount, and I don't have as much to lose because there's not a lot to gain in actual World of Warcraft from doing plus 20s. It's just like, you know, if you feel like you can push it. And luckily for Raider IO, it gives you some progression to track after. And that's all I really have to say about this run. I'll comment if anything weird happens, but you gotta run in and smash high keys like they're Mythic 0s, or they're hard to time. And that ticking point over for me is 15. 15, the timers are tight. You gotta just run. You gotta just run in there. Don't worry about it. I mean, obviously, you know, do the mechanics and then smash it. So I just wanted to say that about this. You can look at my Raider IO. This is the history of how long this Theater of Pain time took here. And it's appropriate because this was the hardest dungeon for me for quite a while because of Gore Chop, because of a lot of things. I've changed my route as well. This is a very standard pug route that you'll see here with 1 turn back, which we still finished with, I'll just spoil it, 2 minutes left. Plenty of time out of 15 here. But yeah, so very appropriate that it's actually this. So wanted to talk a little bit about my goals here. So again, I started off as an extremely casual World of Warcraft player, didn't know anything about Holy Paladin, didn't really know anything about M plus meta, right? I kind of understood that I thought monks were going to be the strongest tank based on just like watching some videos beforehand. I was like, oh, a monk can stagger all this upfront damage so you can't get one shot, and they're quick, right? That seems pretty OP. I believe monks got magic damage nerfed so that they can't stagger magic, but they're still very strong. I think they're probably, with Protection Paladin, they're fighting for second and third, I think. It doesn't really matter at my level. Doing 15s, the meta talk doesn't matter. Like, that's also what I've discovered, is that losing threat to a boomkin is a good thing, and a fire mage in the beginning. 15s, it doesn't matter. You can time a 15 with any comp if everyone just does their job, right? So this is a success for Blizzard. This is a success that, like, all this talk about meta and tuning and stuff like that, it's not relevant in Heroic Raid, and it's not relevant in Mythic plus 15. So I just want to put that out there. I'm very confident that you could have like the worst quote-unquote meta comp out there. If everyone's 220 geared and does their job right and knows the dungeon and you're not wiping, you're fine. You're completely fine. And clearly, because there's no incentivization as far as rewards or achievements or anything for timing over 15s, that's Blizzard's benchmark, and that's got to be like literally 100%, well, 99% of the player base, right? So for me, I have achieved my goal on this character, and over, actually. I think I came into this wanting to just time all the plus 10s because I was terrified of Pride when I came in. I was like, Pride? No thank you. Like, what? That sounds so scary, right? There was no Pride when I was doing heroic dungeons in Mr. Pandora. I was like, this sounds crazy. And you have to know the dungeon so well that you have to use an add-on to do the path. And if you pull one extra mob, it breaks and everyone's mad at you. That sounds terrible. But it turns out it was actually really rewarding. So I'm very happy to have the dungeons this memorized, to have MDT, to be able to discuss it without even looking at MDT anymore. That feels cool, you know? And so I'm gonna get Keystone Master at the end of this dungeon, which you'll see, I mean, in the title I say it. And like, that's more than I was expecting to get, to be honest. And I have the mount, which I have flexed just 24/7. Not that it's like that hard to get, but I was like, I don't care. It's still like my Shadowlands mounts, right? I am not gonna get the Gladiator mount from PvP. I am terrible at PvP. I don't especially like it either. It just has such good gear, but I think that might be slightly changing. I just don't like PvP. I'm putting it out there. I will get good at it for some gear, but then I'm just coming right back to M+. So my Mythic Plus goals, I got them, you know? I guess it's cool to time 16s and 17s, but I'm like, it's, you know, I'll do it, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, 1400 IO, 1500, like that's cool, but I'm not so sure that I care. So we'll see in like another month after this. I'm like, am I still gonna try to push to like a 20? I think doing like Mist 20 or Halls 20, it's like, I could probably do that now if I had like the group and they let me try. But it doesn't work that way in Pugs. It's like to get brought into a 20, you need to have done a lot of 19s. That's just the way it works, and that's fair, completely fair, right? They're just gonna carry you at that point, and you're not gonna know the timing, because each key does change your dungeon a little tiny bit, perhaps, that you're like, okay, you know what that double pull we used to do, that's not the play, because we're all gonna die. I think that around, 18, 19, 20 is probably where like, now you have to start to think about it maybe a little bit differently. But I have my Mythic Plus goal, and I wasn't planning on raiding at all. Like, I told my friends who play WoW who are in like heroic raiding guilds and I think wanted to be in Mythic, but Mythic turned out to be kind of difficult this tier for a lot of people. Like, I think from what I've never Mythic raided, I still haven't, but from what I heard is that this Mythic tier, Shadowlands 1, was like 50% harder than people were expecting. So I wasn't gonna raid at all. Raiding content also on YouTube does terrible. No one cares, apparently, right? Even though it's like the quote-unquote like high-end, like the thing you're supposed to be doing as a PvE player, I don't think so. I think Mythic Plus is the PvE thing right now. Now I understand there's like world first and stuff like that, but like, I mean, you tell me, who cares? I don't care. I liked the MDI an awful lot. MDI was awesome. That was really cool. Race to World First was boring. I can't watch a 25-person raid. Their UIs are ugly. Raiders have ugly UIs. Like, I'm just gonna put that out there. In my opinion, they're ugly. PvP UIs are ugly. Mythic raiding UIs are also ugly. Mythic Plus is pretty, like this UI is pretty. Now let me tell you, like in my day job, I design UIs, so I'm like, that's why I like playing Mythic Plus. Is like, hey, I like making a UI, and I like making a new class too, and making the new UI anyway. Or playing Holy Paladin, making it a Holy Paladin UI. Mythic raiding is ugly. It's just not fun to watch. It's just boring, man. I don't have to say. And I say this loving Castle Nathria. It was cool, and like I wish I could kill Mythic Sire and get the gear, but like at the same time, I don't want to sit in a raid that long. So that being said, I did get ahead of the curve in a pure pug way. Just pugged it. This is sketch, but I have Divine Shield for this. How you play Protection Paladin without Last Stand? You serious? Just taunted all those together, and I'm just like immune for a while? Like, I'm not giving that up anytime soon. But raiding, Castle Nathria was cool, and it changed my perspective on it. So like now I'm definitely gonna just like, and it's not hard, I'm definitely gonna tank all the heroic raids for all of Shadowlands. I've kind of committed to this already. I mean, look how much time I've put into this first season. I was like, I'm not gonna I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to put into it moving forward, because now I know the game. So much of this first couple months, it was like relearning what World of Warcraft even is. But now I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go into the next season, time all the 10s in the first week or two, and then time all the 15s within the first month, because I just know how this game works. And I have some people to play with. And then the raid, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to clear that raid in the first month or two in heroic as well. Like, it's not going to take me as long as it took me this time. And you know, if you follow the channel, the reason I did the raid at all was literally for the trinket that you see up there on the top left. It's the 200 level one, which I'm trying to get the heroic still. I'm never gonna get the mythic one. I need that cheat death, you know. As you may see in the future, and a Demon Hunter is built in, and if you want to start tanking, Demon Hunter is way more forgiving than Prot Paladin. And I'll talk at length about this as I'm playing almost as much Demon Hunter as I play Prot Paladin at this point, so I have some very strong opinions about it. I don't understand why DH is so preferred, but maybe it's a high keys thing because I'm not pushing 20s, okay? So maybe in the 20s, it's like you have to use every extra little bit of survivability that you can get, and by default, a Demon Hunter has a cheat death. And as a Protection Paladin or any other tank, you can get the cheat death, but you do have to raid. You have to raid. So I took like a month to, no, it only took me 3 weeks maybe to get this trinket on normal. I was clearing normal and clearing heroic, like 10 out of 10, right? To maximize vault, to maximize the chances. It did take me like 3 weeks of full clearing both raids to get this 200 level trinket here, and I'm still clearing, and I still cannot get the heroic one. Not a huge deal, but it's kind of that. I think that's one of the harder parts, is that you have to raid. So I got forced into raiding, turned out liking it. Pugging raids is cool because they're like always voiced. I always pug into guild groups, so it's kind of interesting to jump into like someone else's full raid, but their main tank couldn't make it or their off tank couldn't make it, so I fill in. It's super interesting because like they all know each other like crazy, and like, you know, say things that you only say to your friends, and it's like, oh man, you like walked into someone's like friends, you know, party or something like that. I mean, as much as you can in a video game in World of Warcraft, but that's kind of cool. There's not a lot of other video games where like you're gonna like fill in for a threes like in Fortnite or something like that, but in WoW it's such a big party that it's, I don't know. There's other social things to talk about on WoW too, which I might speak about in my like more talking videos about the meta, because again, how interesting is it to watch, you know, to me, I think it's very interesting to see, and that's why I've documented, to see plus 15 keys completed on a Protection Paladin. This is what it looks like. I have every single one. If you want to see it, if I want to see it later, I think that's interesting. All 16s? I don't think that's that interesting. All 20s? I don't think that's that interesting. To me. You know, for the big key pushers, of course they're gonna want to know what a 20 looks like, right? But like for me, as like kind of a casual Mythic Plus, I'm like, this is about it. I don't really need to see a ton more, and I don't really need to see what Mythic looks like either. I know the Mythic Raid has more mechanics, but those mechanics look terrible. It looks really bad. And I'm kind of casual. I don't want to work that hard, and that's saying And so this is about as much work as I want to put in, which is a lot for a video game. Let's just be honest here. This is a lot. So all this to say in a very long way that I've achieved my goal for Shadowlands Season 1. And maybe Season 2, 9.1, my goals are higher. I'm like, hey, maybe I will join a Mythic Raid, right? Okay, we waiting for the Shaman. The next platform is the big oof. So look, we had someone die, and we're still about to time the F out of this dungeon. So, you know, 15's pretty forgivable. I'm fairly sure at the higher keys, that's key. It's like we don't have this extra 30 seconds when you do it, you know, like at all. I don't know, we'll see. But maybe next tier, if I'm rocking this Paladin who's gonna come into the next tier at like 226, like right now I am 220 basically, I think. And it's these trinkets. If these trinkets could get upgraded, I mean, like, come on. Like, I need a Great Vault 226 blood spattered scale. That's the only way to get a 226. So it's completely RNG, which I guess is going to be fixed soon. But that's garbage. You could go look at my Raider IO. Look how many other sides I've run where the trinket comes from at plus 10 and higher. Like 15, 14, 13. It's like I've done it so many times, and I still have a Mythic 4 tanking trinket. That's garbage, man. Like, what? Like, you know, like yo, someone left. Someone left. I forgot about that. Yeah, our Boomkin, our big damage left. Don't leave me, Boomkin. Don't leave us. We need you. Anyway, like that's garbage, and I guess that's RNG, and it's kind of the same thing with this tanking trinket, and I guess that's World of Warcraft. That's cool, but like, I get that's the cool. I think that's the good part about Valor. I don't think Valor points is gonna like insta cap everyone to 226. I think it's really more like, for me, the mid-tier kind of like casual Mythic plus a little bit of rating tank is that like, okay, it's kind of unacceptable that like I put in as much time as I have and I have a Mythic 4 trinket. Like, it's not because I'm not doing 14s and 15s, like tons of them. It's just like, it's luck. I have like 2 13s and 2 10s of like all the other trinkets. I just don't have this one. And like, how many more to other sides do I have to run this tier to get a 226 of this thing, or even a 210 end of dungeon loot one? Like what, like 20 more to other sides? I don't know if I'm gonna run 20 more to other sides. And let me tell you, I'm not on this, because like, there's not that much reward other than that one trinket. And if I can already clear the 15s without it, I'm like, well, I don't want to. Versus like now, you know, talking about the future of, you know, Workbringer of the Paladin, I have another tune that I'll probably start showing, is that like, I'm probably just gonna do like weekly 14s, and then here and there, it's very hard to find Pug 16, 17, 18s. There's not that many on Alliance, which foreshadowing to what my other tune is, there's not that many 16s. Like, I could sit there all day, and there's like a couple. And a lot of those 16s are looking for like 1500 IO tanks, which they should if they can get them, right? So it's like the content on this channel after this is gonna drop like crazy, because there's like, again, I'm not interested in like timing all the 16s. It's just not that interesting to me. I will, and if I have an interesting, cool 16 run that I do manage to find, I'll show it. That's cool. I'll record it still. But I really think the benchmark for Protection Paladin, I wanted to, like, as a scientist in a sense, just see it and experience it, and that's what this is. It's been this recording. But at this point, I can clear all the 15s like easy. Like, there's really no sweat at this point. The group has to be good, but that's always the case, right? And if I get, you know, 6 item levels higher, so I'll go from 220 to 226, it's what, just even easier? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I do still want to, I'm still going to farm a couple 14s a week and push a little bit just to maybe get like some more 226 Great Vault gear and maybe get my blood scattered scale. I'm still going to do Sun King Heroic at least every week, and the first 4 bosses is like, if you get an AOTC Pug, you can one-shot the first 6 bosses. I've done it. It's not that bad. You just have to have people that aren't learning the raid in there if possible. And that's about it on this Paladin. I'm gonna make a guide on how I Protection Paladin. I'm not saying it's how everyone should do it, but I will talk about how I think about all the talents, how I think about the gear, how I think about it. And if you want the history and the proof that how I do it works, then this is that series. Here's 8 plus 15s timed terribly in a lot of cases, but timed regardless. They're right here. You can watch all of them, and I'll talk about the talents, the build. I'll talk about my UI. I'll give my UI. I have my UI redesigned and organized so that it's shareable. Before, it was like 10 different weak auras, which is like, there's no way I'm gonna give 10 different weak auras. Now they're all kind of like one, so that's pretty easy to share. And then my Elf UI, that's it. I don't think anyone wants my Vidu. Vidu is very easy. And then I might do some like, you know, more involved avatar content, just talking about patch notes and stuff like that, and maybe have some fun with some machinima and some kind of creative side stuff, which I don't know if you can tell, but like, to get an avatar of this quality and working like this takes a lot of work, and it's what I do for like my, you know, quote unquote job, is this kind of stuff. So I mean, I kind of flex that side of it as well, but I wanted it to be based in like solid World of Warcraft Mythic Plus, and I also feel fairly confident to speak on the raid. Not at Mythic Plus level, but how many people really Mythic Plus raid? It's not that many. Compared to player base, compared to PvP, there's not that much Mythic Plus going on out there. I did raid, however, last night with a Shadow Priest who was 226, 10 out of 10 Mythic. Like, whoa. Like, a single target with no buffs was like 6k. Like, just doing your rotation, you know, before it's nasty. It was nasty damage. But that's what you need for Mythic, I'm sure. Love to bring them to Mythic Plus on Tyrannical Week, just melt some of these bosses for me. Not so much in the AoE, but we'll bring a mage for that one. But like, I would take them, of course. But, you know, I feel like I have enough knowledge to speak to like a lot of the player base about Protection Paladin, which I think is still the most popular tank overall, is Protection Paladin. But honestly, one of the more difficult tanks to do well, I think. When you do it well, you could be Zmok and carry 4 warriors with you, or 4 boomkins, and you can heal, tank, and DPS. Only tank that can do that. There's no other tank that can do it. However, the skill cap of Holy Paladin is super high, which you can compare me to Paladin Dan to Zmok, and you will see the ascending tiers with, he's full 226, but it's not that big of a difference, right? It's skill. It's 100% skill, and how fast the global cooldown of your brain is. Like, I'm just like hit mob, aggro, dying, cooldown, repeat. Zmok is looking a lot further into like timings with his comp. You know, when do they have to use their cooldowns? You know, and then he's gonna also off heal the entire dungeon. And I'm not there yet at a key like this. A 15 still kind of like max limit. You know, keep threat, survive, right? I've got that down, but I'm not carrying like, you know, a full DPS squad with me. I need a healer. He does not, apparently. But I'm also going to be talking about my first alt that I've made, which, or at least leveled to like a decent degree. I have a Demon Hunter tank that, of course, I like tanking. I thought about healing, and even though Holy Paladin OP at high levels because of the DPS is dumb on a Holy Paladin. It's like 5 times as much as the prop pals. But in the end, I like tanking, so I went with another tank. I don't really like the RP of monks. It seems just not strong. I know they are strong, but, you know, like, and it's just RP, but I'm like, I just don't like the RP of a monk. Prop warrior is a little bit too close to prop paladin. It's like another, shield and sword class. I'm like, okay, that's kind of similar. And so I went with Demon Hunter, which is what I had considered maining for this anyway. But again, I'll say this, I don't like the RP of Demon Hunter either. A little edgy, I like having a shield when I'm tanking, but Demon Hunter is fun, and I'll go over that. And so much of tanking is just knowing the dungeon. I have like 205 gear on him or something like that, but I'm smashing the plus 10s. It's like plus 10s were like 2 chesting them. Like, it's really dungeon knowledge, and the Demon Hunter does allow you to do some pretty sneaky, fast, just some sneaky plays. So I'm excited to show that as well too. I've shown the best of what I've got on a prop pal in these last runs, even though not the cleanest. I don't think there's anything more to game as far as being a prop paladin. Like, watch my other side video. That's as tricksy as we get. You can divine steed up to a waterfall. There's a couple like little like pathing cute things. There's a little bit of using divine shield to pull 3 or 4 packs together. Like, that's it. That's all we got. And the rest of it is that you're tanky and you can survive. That's pretty much Protection Paladin. A bit of off healing, though on the higher keys, I tend to not run Handed Protector. I'm just trying to live myself. But a Demon Hunter, they got some stuff out there. So I'll be making videos on my Demon Hunter. I think this channel really is gonna be about tanking as a whole. And there is tanking content out there, but there could always be more, right? More perspectives on tanking is needed because tanking is hard. Tanking requires a lot of commitment. And so I just want to, do my part to help the tanking community grow, because without tanks, you're not running any dungeons, you're not running any keys, you're not running any raids. And the better the tank, the more fun the DPS has, in my opinion. And there's a lot of DPS out there, so let's try to get some tanks out there. I'll try to share the best that I got. And it honestly doesn't matter the spec, and the tanks that I follow, like again, Quasi, Dorky, and some others too, I forget who. They're all maining Demon Hunter, let's be real, for this season, but they play all tanks. And all of a sudden, if this Necroloid buff and Warrior buff changes the meta to Warrior Protection Warrior, that was like the first class I ever played, everyone's probably gonna roll at least have one, right? I don't see Demon Hunter going anywhere, but who knows? Who knows? So that's talking a little bit about it. This is Gorechop, my least favorite fight, but because of lots of practice, 7 failed attempts at Theater of Pain, I'm not so worried about him anymore. I do zoom my camera in a tiny bit sometimes, and thanks to all the tips on that video. If you want some tips from the community on how to do this boss, don't watch me do it, but when I got hit by Tenderizing Smash, doesn't matter. The tips on my I Hate Gorechop video, very good and implemented here. I'm not getting chained anymore. I have my cooldown rotation for it. And look at this, plus 15 Gorechop, not Tyrannical, of course. The Tyrannical Theater of Pain, I think, is honestly easier in a lot of the cases, right? Big smash, right? Like, what's the big worry? I've gotten better at Gorechop, so that feels good. I feel like I am good, not like overpowered like strats, but like I'm good at every boss and every trash pull in this. And you have to be the time of 15. You can't be like, half good. You need to be confident. You need to know what to do. And again, you can't be scared. You can't be scared. You got to treat this like it's just Mythic 0 and you're just with the boys and girls and just face rolling through it. So not a lot of talk about Theater of Pain. My Gorechop video explains this route, explains my problems with Gorechop that I no longer have. And are we meta comp here? No, we do have oh no, we are. Okay, this is meta comp. I take it back. I take it 100% back. It also helps to time this run that we are essentially the meta comp at the moment. And I don't know if every once in a while I might hover over some of them. This is a high IO group, so I'm kind of getting carried here, so helps. Resto Shaman, GG. Highest throughput healer of the game so far. The meta has shifted at the high end to Disc Priest for Spirit Shell and for being, Night Elf if you're gonna do like those kind of skips. And at the high keys, 20 and above, meta has shifted towards Holy Paladin, because Holy Paladin does more damage than half the DPS out there right now if they're Vent there. So basically Holy Paladins in 20 plus, they can kill the Pride themselves with Wings and Seraphim. They just kill the Pride. No one else has to, and they can save cooldowns. Balanced Druid, how many more love letters do I have to make to Balanced Druids? Fire Mage. I don't think this requires any explanation. Ret Paladin, Bursty. I play Ret Paladin. Ret Paladin is broken in PvP. It is like 2 globals and you kill somebody. They just die. I'm talking like healers die. Like all the shields pain suppress themselves, barrier. Ret Paladin just says final verdict to that and just kills you. So we are running the meta comp. I would say that like you could switch out the Ret Paladin for Windwalker Monk, Unholy DK at this level, and really any other melee, because we need some kicks and we need a little bit of, sometimes you need this melee up front. The affix is not so bad at this week. And they're also good. Melee is also like, kind of okay for explosive because they're pretty quick. Like they got lots of globals to go mow down those explosives, so pretty good. And yeah, this is a high IO group with the meta comp, and you've never seen it go down that quick. And there it is, Shadowlands Keystone Master. Give me that mount. What? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm big happy here. And what's also really nice that I got permission to share here is that my guild, who I'm not main raid team with them, but I do RBGs here and there. We do some keys, is that I get this achievement. A lot of them grief me for not caring about raiding, even though I'm an AOTC, okay? Like what? But like, I only really care about Mythic Plus at this point. And I get my mount, and what's really cool, and it's like a feel-good WoW moment, and unexpected, honestly, unexpected completely, is that my guild that I'm showing the chat here, which I don't show the chat pretty much ever, Riddy, who's the guild lead, who's like 1800 Vengeance Demon Hunter tank, is writing grats. Stro, who's Arcane Mage, I think. We've done some keys together, says grats. And just like the majority of the guild and guild officers and guild lead are all saying grats, even though they got this like months ago probably. They just know it's a big deal for me. So this is an extra cherry on top. And I'll see you on the next video. Feels good.